right, guys, we just signed in behind us here in the main building, and today joining me, of course, is Jay from Banks Power.
What's happening, guys?
It's pretty cool to finally meet you in person, hang out. You know, we've talked on the phone like 3 dozen times. But...
we got a lot of project vehicles we're building.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You got boxes and boxes of Banks parts sitting in your office back in Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool stuff. So let's go.
Let's go. Let's get it.
So this is part of our CNC shop. We do a lot of finishing right here. We'll take the castings with our Duramax exhaust manifolds. We'll do the final machining here. We'll put the threads in, things like that. But we have all the castings done locally. We keep it all in the U.S. and we do the machining here. These are off of this is actually off it's an exhaust brake off a 7.3 right here.
Okay.
Yeah, Ford 7.3. But all the final machining does get done right here, which is pretty cool. And then we can go off into the tube shop this way. Now the machine behind us is a brand new machine to us. It's very expensive, and what it does is very unique. It bends 5-inch 304 stainless steel. All of our new exhaust systems for the Cummins, the Duramax, all the big Ford 6.7s, all 5-inch 304 stainless steel. We're going to be the only game in town when it comes to the best stainless in the market.
That's awesome. Yeah. We like stainless up by us because we have a lot of salt and snow and rust. So stainless is cool. We like that.
This will prevent that corrosion. It'll stave that off. It's awesome, and that's coming soon.
Sweet.
Lots of 5-inch exhaust pieces right here.
I see that.
Yep. So these are already switched down. This is where you'll come out of your DPF filter right here. And then this is the over axle section. We've got it already drilled, so they're going to weld on your NOx sensor bung right here. Lots and lots.
And I think that's a good call in here, Jay, is that all of your products are 50 state compliant.
Yes.
I think we know that a lot. We sometimes don't think about that, but for guys that are watching it, it's super cool to see that you guys are doing, you know, DPF back exhaust systems that maintain that sensor and all of that cool stuff. So no matter where you go, it'll work.
You know what's crazy? So there's all this talk like on your videos and our videos, and guys will say like, hey, is the EPA coming to get you? We're like, why?
Yeah.
Every one of our parts has a CARB EO. That's an executive order number. That means that it's met or exceeded all of the CARB standards. So that's California Air Resource Board. You get a little silver sticker. Well, these don't require it because it comes after your DPF. But all of our tuners, our cold air intakes, everything, intercoolers, boost tubes, everything we make carries a little CARB EO sticker. You slap that under your hood, and when you go to your local smog tech, he punches that in, and it says that it's passed, so you pass through. Yep, and it's good for all 50 states because California is the most stringent when it comes to the emissions requirements.
Yeah, super cool.
So outside, all of the raw tubes get staged. They come in, they get cut to predetermined lengths. They go into these bundles. They get assigned to which station they're going to go to, and our CNC benders will cut them, spin them, do whatever they need to do to get them prepped to be welded. And we've got 6 full-time welding stations where either the bungs are being placed in there or the headers are being welded to the flanges, things like that.
That's awesome, man. It's super cool to see that it's all done right here in-house, you know, and I think a lot of guys don't recognize that either, is that like when you say you have parts in stock and ready to ship, it's because they're made right here, right in this shop.
Yeah, it's neat. We can make to order. I mean, usually we have enough that's sitting on the shelves or sitting on your shelves, but we do try to make as much as we possibly can right here on campus. And you'll see across the street in a minute that everything is designed here. It's not just made here, it's actually designed here by our staff. And if we can't make it here, it's done by one of our local vendors within like a 50-mile radius.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So all the raw material comes in these big 20-foot lengths. They're actually filling up our propane tanks right now. But all of the raw tubes come in at 20-foot lengths, then they get cut down inside.
Hey, how's the food there? I've never been. Is it good?
Jack in the Box.
Fresh, but it's good, man.
That's where we're gonna go for lunch, I think, because there's one right up over here.
Have you not been to In-N-Out yet?
I've not been to In-N-Out.
Oh my God!
I've never
Let's
been.
hold on. Are you getting this? I just found out that you guys have never been to In-N-Out.
We don't have that.
That's a crime against humanity.
We don't
What do you have?
that.
I believe these ram air intakes are headed to Custom Offsets.
Yeah, I think so, man.
So you're gonna be flowing some nice cold air here soon.
Yeah, we're excited. Like I said, we just picked up, you know, the bank stuff a couple months ago, of course, and it's been a super cool opportunity for us. Obviously, being like you know, like we talked a little bit before, man, being a big Gale Banks fan and watching all of that over the years, it's been super cool. So we're really excited to start carrying the products and help our customers get the best products on the market.
Let me show you how it's made. Come on. So behind us, we're in one of the many lobbies here. We have 9 buildings, 9 lobbies, I think. But this one right here, because Gale's office is just inside. His door's closed, right? Take you for a little tour through his office without him knowing, because that's always fun, right? Behind us are a bunch of Bonneville Salt Flats speed records. So he's done it in streamliners. He's done it in Cummins-powered trucks. He's set records in vans. You name it. If he can beat the world record, he's into it. And something that we've just kind of loosely announced, we're going to be taking our Type R road race truck, which is a 2005 twin turbo Duramax powered GMC.
Okay.
Right? It's slammed and it looks like you'd see something at the Nürburgring, or you know, like a DTM race with a big wing on the back.
Yep.
We're going to take that to Pikes Peak next year, 2022.
Ooh,
yes.
Man, that's super exciting though. Yeah, that'll be neat.
So we're in the race shop, and behind us is LokJaw, which you may have seen as part of our Banks Built YouTube series. Now, this 1966 Chevy C20 pickup truck started its life with a very feeble engine. Today, though, it's covered up because we've been making a lot of dust and we don't want to get debris in the engine. But it's a 2022 Duramax. Oh wait, though, it's going to be supercharged.
Oh man!
Here's the. Now this is a 3D print.
A mock-up, sure.
Yeah, that's. You want to hold that here, citizen? There you
Yeah.
go. This is a 3D printed version of the Whipple 3.8 liter. Now these are the 5-inch inlets. Okay, so this whole thing will go right over
Sit
here.
right up on the top.
Yeah,
there.
so that's all going to go right there like that. And it's gonna. Now these will come down right here, and it hasn't aired yet, depending on when this will go live. But these are the air boxes that will end up going in here. Now, Matt in CAD and Eric, our prototype engineer, just got done making these last night at about 11 p.m. So this is super fresh.
They're probably still warm
well,
yet,
it's only
you know?
tacked, right? So these are the air boxes.
Sure.
And you go, what goes in those giant air boxes? Let me show you.
Holy cow!
So it'll fit one of our big ass filters. Now this is out of a Duramax L5P.
Okay.
Right. So if this is the filter, actually I don't know. This one feels small. Hold on a second. Let's not put that in here.
That's small?
Yeah, no, it's the right one.
Man.
Okay, that's the right one. Yeah, it's one of our big ass filters right here.
Yeah.
So the reason that you want a big filter is not just for bragging rights. You want it for the maximum surface area.
Yep.
The more surface area you have, the longer you can drive before it gets clogged.
your filter's
Okay,
plugged
before
up,
you need to clean it, right? And these are all cleanable filters. And these all we have for the Ram 6.7, the Ford 6.7, the Duramax 6.6 liter, all the big diesels. We have these giant filters. This truck will have 2 of them. Exactly.
For reference, let me see that for a second. For reference, right?
Here's your head.
This is my face, and this is the filter. It is gigantic.
When people call us and they ask, like, how much do you guys know about the Duramax platform, right? They're like, well, I'm thinking about buying the cold air intake from you or maybe somebody else, or the tuner, you know, how much do you know about that platform? And we go, well, we have Duramax engines abound, like all over our shop. And we've been working with Duramax since back in '01, since the original.
Sure.
And I have a treat for you. I'll show you something in just a little bit.
Okay.
First, let's go this direction.
All right. Jay, what in the world are we looking at here? What is this thing?
You know Jay Leno, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his tank car?
Yeah.
His tank car has a Hemi V12. This is the sister engine. This is out of a tank. So,
oh my Lord.
Gale, many years ago, worked with Jay when he was building that car, and we designed the intake manifolds and the turbo system, the electronic, all of the electronics.
Sure.
And this is the sister, so we didn't have to transport his engine back and forth and back and forth. We were able to use this as a mock-up, and it was so interesting we just decided to keep it.
Yo, I mean, I don't blame you. It's massive. It's like 2-liter bottle of soda, you know, sitting on the head there. This thing's neat.
Now, you're looking at this engine going, wow, this is like tiny by comparison compared to that L5P over there, right?
Yep.
All right. Now, this is the reason that there is a diesel performance aftermarket. This is the GM 6.2 liter diesel that came in all the early 80s, trucks, the pickups, Suburbans, things like that. Okay, back in the early 80s, Pontiac reached out to Gale and said, hey, can you go set a land speed record in our new Firebird? And so they gave him one. They said, come pick it up. It's in New Mexico at our proving grounds. And they gave him a truck, a couple of trucks to pull it back with. Well, on the way back to California, they're anemic. Like they wouldn't get out of their own way.
The 6.2s were relatively slow from the factory.
Exactly,
right?
Incredibly slow. So he gets it back here, unable to deal with it. He took one of his turbo systems and put it on the engine.
Yep.
Flash forward a few years later, it was the first dealer available turbo kit on a diesel pickup engine. You could go into any GMC dealer around the country and say, I want the Gale Banks Engineering turbo kit, and put it in your payment. You could buy it. It was a year before Cummins had a turbo diesel.
Before they even made a turbo diesel.
Exactly. So that is why this engine is significant. This baby right here, this whole system.
Yeah, because it's all aftermarket, you know, or dealer aftermarket. That's one of my favorite stories, and I'm so glad that we touched on it because it's so neat to me that, like, this is the entire reason that all of this exists. Is that right?
Yeah. And what's crazy is all these years later, we still sell it.
Do you really?
There are guys that collect those trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane.
They slap a turbo on it. It's just a little guy.
Yeah, it made a world of difference.
Yeah,
a world of difference.
For sure.
So we have marine applications here. Here's another marine marinized Duramax right here. Now this guy, this originally started its life in our diesel dragster. So we set a world record back in the day with our diesel dragster. Then we pulled it out when we got a request to build an engine for Dave Sparks of Diesel Brothers, who wanted to take his Brodozer, and he was having issues where when it turned upside down, it was just having all kinds of issues. So we said, we have a solution. We're going to build a supercharged twin turbo. So you'll have all the power of twin turbos, but you'll have instant acceleration of a supercharger. Exactly. So you've got twin precision turbos on the back that blow into the first intercooler, go into the Whipple 5-liter supercharger, then into the father of all intercoolers, this giant brick here, and then it goes down to the intake manifold and into the engine. And we've gone through variations. There was a YouTube series about this engine. So we've dry sumped it, we've wet sumped it, we've had all different configurations out here. Currently this is resting until Monster Jam comes back, and then it will go back on the dyno and we'll continue development. But a variation of this, a super turbo, supercharged twin turbo, will be available to buy
through your crate program.
Through our turnkey engine program.
Bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild. I just want to touch real quick on the fact that you said 5 liters.
Yes.
Like 5.0.
Yeah.
Like the same displacement as what you can buy a new Coyote.
Correct.
Right? The whole V8 engine.
Yeah.
Just in the super.
Just the supercharger
which is fed
right
by
here.
2 turbos.
Yeah. So these guys right here are 3D printers. What we do is we 3D print almost everything. We either 3D print it out of plastic, variations of different plastics, different materials, depending on what we needed to do, or we'll 3D print it out of metal. A lot of our new products, we'll make the first article, we'll 3D print aluminum.
Sure.
And in this case, these are working all day, every day, all night, and we 3D print all of our air boxes. Then we put it on the truck and we dyno test it. We don't just guess. We don't just draw it in the computer and flow it in the computer with CFD and then say, I think this will work because the computer says so.
Yep.
We will actually make one, glue it all together because it's in pieces, you glue it together, you install it in the truck, you sensor the snot out of the truck so you know exactly a pressure and temp at every part of the way.
Every step of the
every
way,
step of the way. And then we'll find out, has there been a manifold air density increase, what you want, and then you'll see more horsepower. And then once we have not only reached the goal that we wanted to reach, but we'd also had to beat every competitor.
Yep.
Every competitor needs to be beaten or we just will not release it. So we're not always first to market, but when we do come out with a product, it always wins.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Man.
Oh.
You want some of it on camera?
Yeah, if you're cool with it.
Let me just take the cover off.
Dude. unbeknown to a lot of people, Jay, I am like, the GT just does it for me. So when we walked through the door, literally right there, and I saw it under the cover, I was like,
you saw the body lines, didn't
no
you?
way. And here it is.
Yeah, this is Gale's 2005 GT. Wow. And one of the perks to owning a company like this is you get to do your own oil services right here. So literally, it's in for just the service.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, you like the license plate?
All right.
Around the
let me
backside
see
here.
it. Let me see it. What a beautiful car, man.
Red, white,
And blue.
how's that for good old Americana right there?
That's fantastic. Wow. No, I mean, of all the things we could have saw today, I expected to see some cool Duramax stuff. I expected to see some cool manufacturing stuff. I did not anticipate to walk through a door and see a Ford GT.
And we are in Banks Technologies. Now,
Okay.
this is Banks' power sister company. You don't hear about it as much because they specialize in military applications.
Sure.
But they'll be helping us out on our turnkey engine program as well soon.
Yep.
But what they are, it's a manufacturing facility. A lot of you guys may not know that the JLTV, the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, which replaced the Hummer. You guys all remember the Hummer. The new version, the new military vehicle, is the JLTV. 100% of those vehicles are powered by a Banks D866T engine, right? So that's an 8-cylinder, 6.6 liter diesel.
Yep.
Behind us are many of those engines, okay? What happens is that these engines start their life at the Duramax facility in Moraine, Ohio, where a whole host of Banks parts are put on the engine on the line next to the pickup truck engines. But they can't divert the engines off the line to put in our some of the specialty parts.
Yep.
So those engines get on a plane wrapped truck, right? And they come here,
Sure.
and they get stacked against the wall, and at about somewhere around 100 a week, they get processed in the building next door, which unfortunately I can't show you.
Yep.
But they take the engines down, add more parts on them, and then they dyno test every single one, and the guy who dyno tests it signs off, so he's responsible for the engine. Everything is traceable. Everything has a barcode. If anything were to fail in the field, we know exactly what happened, and we can go back to the source. It's pretty amazing. These are all 2021 Duramax L5P engines. Yeah, just so many of the parts that are coming to us, like this mid pan and the lower pan,
Yep.
those are Banks parts that are assembled at the Duramax plant in Moraine, Ohio. When they come off, when we change, we do a lot of stuff to it in the building next door, and then they get stacked up behind the cameraman. Don't show those because I'll get in trouble, all right? Those are the finished engines over there. And then they get shipped to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and they get dropped into the JLTV.
I was just going to say, ironically enough, they build the rest of the truck about 20 miles from us.
Oh, do
25
they
miles.
really?
Oshkosh is just south of us.
Oh,
Yep.
that's right.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could go over there and you could look in the hood and see the
And
Banks.
see the Banks.
Every single one has an ID card that says Banks, the 8-cylinder, 6.6 liter turbo. They make great power. Again, it's all about endurance, keeping our military out of harm's way. So they have to outperform. And you know, you're talking about, look, Banks was a company that started in 1958. He was a hot rodder from the San Gabriel Valley, like American Graffiti, if anyone has seen that with your grandpa
was
watching
like, careful,
movies,
you'll age
right?
yourself again.
I'm just saying, like you're hanging out with grandpa or dad and you watch American Graffiti, that old hot rod scene.
Yeah.
Gale Banks, who's still here 6 days a week, you just passed him in the
I was
other
saying, I
building.
just saw him in the other
He was
building
in a
there, yeah.
conference, and he was part of that original hot rod movement. Imagine all these years later, we're outfitting the military, like this little hot rodder from
Yeah.
some little podunk town in Southern California is supplying our military with high performance engines. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy.
Oh, so there you go, some candy to end the trip.
Well, Jay, I think that wraps up our tour. We spent a couple hours together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking us around, showing us around all sorts of stuff here. A super cool experience. I know you got to see me fangirl of a bunch of stuff in there, so really, really awesome. Again, just a reminder for you guys, we do carry pretty much the full Banks Power lineup now, so if you guys want to check that out, we have all that on our website, customoffsets.com. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.